Apollo space flight to the moon has just been completed and marks the fourth successful attempt by mankind to explore the surface of our sister planet. These space trips to the moon, together with others which have been made in more recent years, have brought to light some very important facts regarding the health and well-being of astronauts or men when they go beyond the periphery of the Earth's atmosphere and gravitational fields. Principally, these facts involve certain chemical imbalances which occur in the bodies of these men as they travel through space. Calcium and potassium are not properly assimilated, and the body in turn robs the bone structure of calcium to supply the need for this mineral in the metabolism of the body. Curiously enough, supplementing this imbalance by the intake orally of these elements does not reconstitute the balance, and the long-term effect of such chemical imbalances could be greatly exaggerated should the space flights continue beyond the limited number of days in which man has succeeded in remaining aloft and away from the Earth's gravitational field. All this, of course, poses a great mystery to the scientists and others who are concerned with the health and well-being of mankind, either in space or more directly involved with our environmental factors as we so find ourselves in our daily lives. These very important facts could be very easily solved and the mysteries cleared up should the scientists learn to recognize and begin to work with the different electromagnetic fields which surround the Earth and which are part of the solar system, some of which radiate from the sun, and others are a more fourth-dimensional nature, which are actually the constituents of inner space, which holds the galaxy together, forms planets and suns, and even is the motivating force as well as the constructive elements in the entire universe. However, the scientists of today are not aware of the multiple electromagnetic fields as they are concerned either with the solar system or with the universe. And so the factors of metabolism which are upset when the forces of gravity and other electromagnetic fields are temporarily suspended will no doubt remain a great mystery until the scientist does become acquainted with these different electromagnetic fields. Hand in hand, so to speak, is another curious phenomena which is common to all people which inhabit this planet. And while you may not see a direct relationship between this phenomena and traveling through space, yet the underlying principles are exactly the same. This phenomena of which I speak is the variance in weight which every person has during a 24-hour period. Every person weighs several pounds lighter at 4 a.m. in the morning than they do at 10 p.m. in the evening. These fluctuations cannot be attributed to the loss of water or any of the other common dietary influences or other different types of exercises which a person might undergo during the course of the day. It might be surmised a person should weigh less at night before retiring than they would in the morning, but the reverse is always true. Now again, if the total proposition of the different spectral electromagnetic fields which surround the Earth and which are part of our planetary system, together with the galaxy and the universe, man's relationship to these electromagnetic fields were more properly understood, all of these mysteries would again be resolved. In order to understand, we will revert back to our original consensus of the electromagnetic fields as they exist either with atomic constituents of our bodies or any other objects of the Earth, together with the many electromagnetic fields which surround the Earth. The chemistry or metabolism of your body depends wholly upon the relationship of these electromagnetic fields. For this a proper function and metabolism, that is to say, all atoms have an electromagnetic field. These atoms, as they are compounded into molecules, cell structures, etc., again re-radiate a magnetic field which contain a number of harmonics, which are actually multiples of the original vibrations which surround the electrons of the atom. Now, according to phase or frequency relationship, these different electromagnetic waveforms can either repel or they can be inductive to others or to combine with them, or they can remain in a semi-passive state, a quiescent state, depending, of course, upon frequencies and the harmonics which are regenerated within them. The total sum of harmonics as they are regenerated in any human anatomy form what has been commonly called in the ancient occultisms as the aura, the radiating force field which surrounds every human. It might be well to mention, too, that this same aura surrounds every object on the earth, even the stones which are upon the ground, or the mountains, the lakes, the oceans, etc. In fact, the total earth has a great and magnificent aura. This aura being, of course, composed of these regenerative harmonics, which have been so regenerated in the general processes which are going on at any particular moment during the entire 24-hour cycle. The picture here is rather complex and involves the entire solar mechanics. The revolution of the sun, the earth around the sun, the revolution of the sun around the central apex of the galaxy, leading its flock of planets like a mother hen with her chicks. And as all of these different movements of the planets, the sun, the galaxy, etc., through the universe, you can naturally see that a great and an infinite number of electromagnetic lines of force are constantly being intercepted, passed through, or being in some way regenerated as harmonic structures within the net sum and total of our Earth field. The metabolism of any human anatomy, or for that matter any living thing on the face of the earth, depends, as I have said, upon certain primary relationships with the total electromagnetic spectrum of the earth, the solar system, and the universe. This is what is meant when it has been said in the Bible that even a sparrow which falls by the way is noted, because the movement of any particle or even an atom in the total spectral composite as it is in the entire universe will, to a certain relative degree, affect not only its position as an inductive or a repellent capacity to the total spectrum of the universe, and will therefore, in its affectation, can be said to relay or to inject a certain variable degree of relationship even to the outermost fringes of infinity. When this total harmonic interplay is more thoroughly understood and envisioned within your own mind, complex as it is, then this will begin to give you a key to solving these mysteries which are now puzzling the scientists of this earth at this time. The weight of your body, for example, be it 150 pounds, 180, or whatever, that weight is totally dependent upon the gravitational field. And this dependency, or the relationship of this gravitational field with the Earth's gravitational field, is, of course, as you can see, a relationship between the inductive properties of the electromagnetic fields of your body and that of the gravitational spectrum of the Earth. We must also take into account that there are numerous other different electromagnetic fields which surround the Earth, and all but two of these are totally unknown to the scientist of this time. He knows only of the gravitational field and the magnetic field, such as it might imply to the common horseshoe magnet. The gravitational field, however, still remains quite a mystery to the scientist, chiefly because he has not concerned himself with the electromagnetic properties of the atom which constitute any object or body on the surface of the Earth. Yes, and even the different layers of the Earth or to the total mass of the Earth itself. And this gravitational field is an inductive force or an induced force which has been generated by the total electromagnetic fields of the solar system, the galaxy, and the universe. All done according to certain patterns generated in the principle of harmonics. And one of these harmonics comes out in the third dimension as the gravitational field. So you see that as your aura fluctuates as it does during the 24-hour period, the weight of your body will also fluctuate because it is either more or less attracted by the gravitational field according to the principles which I have described. The inductive principles which attract certain harmonics in the net sum and total of your electromagnetic field or aura, which are likewise tuned, so to speak, to those particular harmonics which constitute the gravitational field of the Earth. The same principle is involved in complete totality to the entire metabolism of the human anatomy. While the psychic anatomy, which every person has, relays the necessary information or the compelling intelligence to the different cells, molecules, atoms, etc., which keep metabolism going in the human body, yet the necessary movements within the atomic structures themselves, as they constitute molecules or cells, would not be possible unless they had their correlationship and their necessary energy with the fourth dimension. This correlationship is achieved constantly at all times through and with these different electromagnetic fields which I have mentioned. And as there are literally many thousands of them, which to some degree can be said to be harmonically attuned to some degree or relationship with the cells, molecules, and atoms which constitute your body, therefore their effect upon your general metabolism can be quite readily seen. As you are sleeping, your metabolism of your body changes. That is why it is possible for you to rejuvenate your body much more successfully and completely during sleeping hours than it is during the waking period of your day. Also, many other important things are done within your body together with your psychic anatomy during sleep, which is not possible during the waking hours. All of these things are, of course, readjustments, rebuilding, recharging, etc., the different electromagnetic fields which are constantly radiating around the different atomic structures which constitute your body. You must remember that while your body is composed of countless trillions of atoms, yet the entire body is dependent upon the health and well-being of every single atom in your anatomy. And should one atom begin to fail, so to speak, that is, not to maintain its proper relationship with the total electromagnetic fields of the solar system, the Earth, together with the impelling intelligences or commands as they are reflected by the psychic anatomy. then this atom can be said to be cancerous, and it can affect other atoms. And a number of atoms, as they comprise a molecule, are in turn involved in the structure of a cell. This inharmony, or lack of harmonic interplay, as I have described it, can regenerate a cancer. Principally, however, we are concerned with the everyday factors of common living, such as they are expressed. So you see that by affecting the total metabolism of your body as it is involved during the sleeping state and toward 4 a.m. in the morning, your weight will change. You will become lighter because the physical, or that particular part of the aura of your body, has somewhat less of a direct correlationship, or a pull, if you wish to call it that, to the electromagnetic field of the earth. When you are awake and during the day, you regenerate a certain particular amount of physical oscillations in the total atomic structures of your body. These build up until about the time you retire at night, so that your pull toward the gravitational field of the earth is much greater at that period by several pounds than it was at 4 a.m. in the morning. When you understand this somewhat clearly, you will have solved this mystery which has puzzled doctors and scientists since almost the beginning of the bathroom scale. It will also solve for you why calcium is taken from the bones of the skeleton of a man in weightlessness in space, or that potassium cannot be assimilated, simply because the relationships in the net sum and total of the different electromagnetic fields of these atomic structures concerned with the metabolism of the body, the calcium and potassium itself, in the net sum and total of all electromagnetic fields of the solar system, the galaxy, and the universe. Now you can readily appreciate the fact that this has been a rather difficult concept to explain. In fact, I may not have even adequately done so. However, you must also rely upon other different ways and manners in which you can take the principles I have described to you and interject them into your daily life to explain why you have a certain particular cycles of, shall I say, regression or expansion in your own daily life. Why some days seem to be better than others, and vice versa. It is an expansion of this concept into what we will call the planetary aspects, which the astrologer of today relies upon. Here again, the astrologer is not conscious of and does not know about the numerous different electromagnetic fields which are the composite of our solar system. Neither does he understand, as I have described these electromagnetic fields to you, their effect upon the human anatomy, or the psychic anatomy of every individual. Astrology, therefore, is invalid as it is so exercised today, because it does not take into consideration the numerous other different factors which are relevant to your daily life on the planet Earth. That is the reason why any astrologer will tell you that astrology merely impels but does not compel. We are concerned in this discussion with the compelling forces and motivations of your life and what make it possible on this planet Earth. As I have said, the total environment of any Earth world such as this is very hostile. It is hostile to life, yet strangely this hostility in itself propagates and makes life possible on the basis that it selects the species according to the Darwinian principle of selectivity in its total evolution. Therefore, as a product of evolution, you as a human have learned to breathe the gas of the air, even though during the first 9 months of your life your lungs were entirely filled with water. And this water had to run from your mouth before you could breathe. It will also explain to you in the understanding all of these mysteries as we are concerned in our evolution on this planet Earth. If we go into the basic factors which have not only made life possible, they have engendered life, and these principles have also constructed and reconstituted planets, suns, galaxies, etc. And I am speaking, of course, to the original consensus of principles as it involves the structures of electromagnetic fields, the harmonics which are therefore regenerated within these electromagnetic fields, how they apply to the inductive or to the repelling of forces which make the difference between atoms, molecules, cells, human beings, and every other form of life or any object on the earth. For as you can clearly see, there are no two objects on this earth which are exactly similar in every respect. Therefore, in the future, whether it is another space flight to the moon, or whether you read in the local newspapers about other mysteries which men have discovered in their daily life and what makes it possible on this planet Earth, you can then resort to the explanations which I have given you. The properties of the electromagnetic fields, their relationship to each other according to harmonic structures. And bearing this in mind, it will give you a great and added amount of wisdom which will help you in your evolutionary climb into the future. It is only fair to note at this time that certain very important discoveries and developments have already transpired here among the scientific segment of humanity on the planet Earth. In Russia, for example, the scientists there have made tremendous strides into what is more commonly known as ESP. And as another factor in the total relationship of mankind in his life on the planet Earth, ESP is also made possible by the total electromagnetic spectrum of the fourth dimension. Notably, in particular, a man and wife team have discovered what is known as the Curlian effect by using an oscillator generator working on frequencies between 30,000 and 40,000 kilocycles. Certain objects, animate and inanimate life, plants, animals, and even humans, can be radiated to the extent that certain harmonics will be regenerated in the total auric emanations of their bodies, and these harmonics are photographed. There are actually many thousands of photographs of auras which relate to plants, animals, objects, people, etc. While this is a very important discovery and development which points in the right direction, there is still no indication that they will pursue or that such explorations and discoveries will be pursued and found into the adjacent, the fourth dimension, which is the seat and origin of all life, including the planet Earth and other similar untold millions of planets in the galaxy, as well as the suns which warm these planetary systems and furnish power and energy to the life forms which are found on the surface of these planets. Looking at our life here on Earth in sort of a totality, it could be very well said that any human, or any life form for that matter, is simply a little glob of energy in a great and infinite sea of energy, wherein, if we look at this energy closely and begin to resolve it into its dimensional forms, we will see the fourth dimension and all adjacent dimensions, energy revolving in cyclic patterns and in ways and manners which are not comprehensible to the third dimensional mind. View them as a little glob of energy and moving about through this great infinite sea of energy. You can readily see that not only is your life here as you manifest it in your consciousness made possible by all of this energy, but that you are actually at any given moment or any given time merely relating yourself to any one or a number of different waveforms in a phased relationship to this total sea of infinity. In consciousness or in a physical aspect, this relationship must take place constantly at all times. You are inductive, or that you absorb this energy in much the same manner and fashion that a radio or a television receiver would absorb the energy from the transmitter. The number of ways and manners in which you absorb or that you re-radiate energy are almost countless and without number. The absorption or induction into your psychic anatomy, into your physical body, into your consciousness, the re-radiation of different waveforms from your physical anatomy and your consciousness into infinity. You can therefore see that this is not only an extremely complex picture, but is one which must be, at least to some extent, understood. Life without the physical body in any other dimension would not be possible unless you attain some of this understanding, and the degree in which you learn to understand will determine the net sum and total of your life in any of these future dimensions. If you have no comprehension, then your life without your body and without the correlative factors which I have described to you will be absolutely impossible. It is your physical body and your conscious mind as it is constituted in the brain cells, which number anywhere up to 50 million or so, which make your life possible here on earth. However, divesting your psychic anatomy of this body and the way in which it expresses itself in relationship to all of the electromagnetic fields of force in the totality of the interdimensional consensus, then you can readily see that your life could be very well nightmarish. You would live in a vague, suspended, dreamlike state where you would resort from such memories as were contained in your psychic anatomy, and some form of consciousness would be made possible only on the basis of these dreams. In other words, life without your body in another dimension could very well be one big nightmare unless you possess some knowledge of the many different factors which relate to harmonic interplays of the numerous electromagnetic fields of the interdimensional cosmos, which I have described to you. So therefore persist, and do not be discouraged that you do not assimilate all of this knowledge in one lifetime, or even in a few days' time. Remember, the assimilation of this knowledge is your future. It could well last the next 100 million years or so before you would become into any kind of a compatible position whereby you could live a really good life in a higher dimension. And when you achieve that life, you must also bear in mind that the common factors which you find palatable and necessary in your daily life now would be entirely foreign and unknown to you at that time. You might even look back on them in sort of a telepathic way into the past, as one might read his own Akashic record, and you would wonder how you ever lived through being such a vegetative creature. To further enlarge our perspective, therefore, on what has been discussed, it could be envisioned in another way, that as a human on an earth planet, whether he is an astronaut, or Tom, Dick, or Harry, or whoever person it is, or for that matter, any animal, bird, tree, etc., all life processes involved on this planet take place in what might be best described as a plasma. That is to say, the net sum and total of all electromagnetic fields which are concerned around the Earth, the solar system, the galaxy, the universe, as well as all other adjunctive relationships with the interdimensional cosmos, would form the composite of this plasma. The third dimensional constituents would, of course, be the harmonics and the more direct phase relationships, which are third dimensionally inclined or expressed. In this specified and constantly oscillating space Earth plasma, the average person has, through evolution, learned how to conduct and live their daily life. From life to lifetime, each life has added its own individual measure, all of which has gone into the psychic anatomy, that energy body, which is the second person, or more properly, could be even called the first person, as the psychic anatomy, being fourth dimensional in nature, does not die, but lives eternally. It also is dependent, in at least to a large degree, upon certain infusions, I shall say, are direct radiations into or being inductive into the net interdimensional cosmos. It finds within itself certain compatible relationships or frequencies which oscillate with, regenerate with, and totally build up with and help to recharge from the interdimensional cosmos. In common metaphysics, as is sometimes taught in earth world dimensions, that it is said God has created everything in infinite supply,